Hello people! Today, as promised from last time, we're doing a Chinese New Year set for the Year of the Dragon. So let's get started. I'm starting with extra long stiletto tips, and we're going to use this Venalisa red as our base. I did make a lot of mistakes doing this set, but I figured out, and I did learn a lot too, so you're going to see me make some mistakes, and I'm going to tell you how you can avoid that if you want to try something like this yourself. We'll get to that in a bit. Before I forget, it took me 2 hours and 45 minutes to do this set. Now, all that did have some experimental stuff happening in there, so probably could shave maybe a half hour off of that. And we're just going to get this red base color on. We're going to be doing the dragon and the dragon symbol in what I'm calling a cheating method of getting them on there. As I know going in that my hand painting skills are not good enough to be hand painting and freehanding a dragon on there. It would not have come out looking like a dragon, I can guarantee you that. Okay, those are going in for their curing. Now we're on to the second coat. Now, believe it or not, I have sped this section up along with the one before this. Now, I have been wanting to do a set of Chinese New Year nails for a while, like probably for the last few years. I just was unsure kind of how to go about it, but so I bit the bullet and took a swing. So I'm mostly happy with how they came out. There's some things that if I were to make this for a client that I would be redoing, and they would look a lot neater than how these came out. We'll get into that as we get farther along. Now, after we get all the polish on and cure these, excuse me, we're going to be going in with some stamping. And the stamping plates I'm using, I have had for several years. I really like the patterns and designs on them, but well, as I said, I just wasn't sure exactly what to do with them as far as the New Year's set. And you notice by all the red that's all over my gloves that's why I wear gloves, because that would have been on my fingers causing me to have a breakout. Okay, here's the stamping plates. They all came from what used to be Bundle Monster. Excuse me, I believe it's Maniology now. But they had some really pretty designs on there that I have been itching to use. So I finally got around to it. Sorry for the view up my nose again, guys. I haven't been able to get around that yet. Alright, and we're going to be using those hanging paper lanterns for the first one. And this is the stamping polish I'm using. This is regular stamping polish, not gel. So it will dry fairly quickly, so we've got to work rather fast. We're going to put it on the top half of the image, and then we're just going to give it a couple of scrapes to spread it down into the rest of there. Pick it up with our handy dandy stamper. And then I will clean off around the edges any bits that got on there that we don't want stamped onto the nail. Now this is going to be a subtle design because it's not going to show up really super clearly over the red. But I thought they were still really pretty. I didn't want to use black. I could have used black for stamping them, but I just really didn't want to. I wanted to do it all in the red and the gold. So there are the hanging paper lanterns. And moving on, we're going to use that design over there on the far left. It's got like a flower in the middle. This will go on one of them. I believe this is the middle finger. Not that it really matters, I guess. Same thing, I'm going to clean off any of the excess on here, especially on this one because this one is not big enough to fill up the entire nail with the image. So we're going to put it fairly close to center. There's going to be some top and some bottom where it's just the red. Sorry about that. But there's that one. And then I'm going to use this knot, like it's like a knot cord kind of a thing. I've really liked that one, but I just didn't really know what to do with it, so finally have figured out where we're going to go with it. Scraping it off. I want to pick it up with the stamper. Clean the edges off again if there's any on there. And there will be because I overflowed onto that other one that's next to it. Okay, now I want the flat part at the top, and I want it all the way at the top of the nail. Like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this little tassel doodad that's down here. Alright. Okay, I'm going to add this, I'm going to center this and add this to the bottom of that knotted cord deal. There we go. Now we have a tassel on there. I like how that one looks. Okay, and moving on, now we're going to be on the pinky. The pinkies and the thumbs are both going to be the same way with this kind of square grid pattern. And we're not going to use this full pattern. We're going to just have like some at the top of the nail and some at the bottom. I really probably didn't need to clean all of that off because it's going to be going off the edge of it anyway. But we just need one edge to be clean so there's nothing on there. Then we're going to do about that much of the top. What's that, maybe half an inch, give or take a little. And we're going to do the same thing on the pointy bottom, the free edge. First we must clean the stamp. Now I'm using Q-tips for this, and if you're using something like this that has an intricate design that's going, I like to go side to side and up and down also, because then it gets all of it off from every direction. Now at the end of my using the stamping plate, then I use a cotton pad to clean them instead of the Q-tips, because obviously I can do a better job that way. Okay, and this is just going to go on the end, and I had some issues here because the whole thing flipped off of the nail stand. And I just wanted to get that little side edge over there where it came off. Bloop. I believe I got it on there. And now we got to get this back on the stand. Now the polish should be fairly dry that we just stamped on there, but you still don't want to really be handling it too much yet at this point. Okay, moving on. I've done that on the thumbs, and I've done all the rest off camera. Now, This is the cheating method that we're going to use for getting these dragons on there. As you're looking at that dragon down there, you can see how intricate and tiny it is. I've printed out these images in varying sizes because I wasn't sure which size I was going to use. And now I'm just taking a plastic bag, I'm cutting it down one side and across the bottom, and so I can open it up and have one single layer of plastic. Now preferably this would have worked better, I think, maybe on a piece of acetate, because it would have been straight, smoother and flatter, but I didn't have any, so this is what I'm using. Now I ended up putting a bottle of polish on both ends of the top of here to hold it down. But as I'm painting, I'm going to be pressing it down and holding it with my other hand. Now this was the very first one I've done like this. I've seen people doing this with other different symbols of stuff. This is my first time having a go at it, so it did not go as smoothly as I would have hoped, but I figured it out in the end. So hopefully I can keep you guys from making the same mistakes I did. Okay, we're going to need our detailer brush, and I'm going to be using black gel paint for this. Now, I was a little bit worried that the gel paint was going to bead up on that plastic. Luckily, it did not. Now, I think I have sped this section all up because it did take me a considerable amount of time to sit here and paint this. But we're just going to paint over the design. And this was a slow process. I was trying to get this, get all the little details in here. Some things did kind of get left off or eliminated, or they got so smushed together they don't totally show. But you can still tell it's a dragon, and I guess that's the main thing. This image was much larger than this. I believe it was drawn up for a tattoo, so shrinking it down really made the fine details like really fine. But this is a good method for, like, if you're like me and you can't do a lot of the hand painting stuff very neatly yet. This is a good method that's quicker, and you will get the desired image you're looking for the most part. Well, the ones I've seen people doing, they've been using like solid black images. There's like silhouettes of items, so they don't have as much detail. It's just like the solid, it's all solid black, which will make it infinitely easier to paint. Now, as I said before, I was afraid that this was going to bead up on the plastic, but luckily it didn't. Now, if you were using regular gel polish to paint this, I have a feeling that it would bead up on there, and then you know, it wouldn't stay together, and then it would be a mess. Now, of course, if you were doing a solid image that was smaller, you could just paint it in real quick and get it in there to cure before it has time to start to bead up and separate, but that was not going to be the case for this one. I was trying to be oh so careful because I wanted it to look like the dragon and have a lot of this detail. Plus, it kind of got a little hard to see where I had painted and where I didn't, so when we're ready to move it off of there, you'll see there will be some parts that I missed that I have to redo, or fill in, I should say. But as you can see by looking at this image, there's just no way in the world I was going to be able to freehand paint this onto the nail without having to wipe it off numerous times. And I don't have the patience for that, so cheating method it is. Now I'm painting these with the black gel paint. They're eventually going to be gold chrome, because we're going to chrome this after it's cured. And that's another area where I started having a lot of issues. And you'll see why in a bit here. But as I said too, I have figured out the way that needs to be done so that I can avoid the issues that I ended up having. And we should be almost done here. Just getting his little belly lines on. And a little bit more stuff down there on the tail. Some little spiky bits. Okay, I think we're ready to move it off of there. There. Now see, you can see there's some parts that I did not get. So now I'm going to go back and fill in these lines that I didn't get all of on there. Now this part I am just freehanding, kind of winging it. I mean, I'm trying to stick to what it looks like over there, but there's some things that are going to get changed out a little bit. Like these little dots, they're up in here. Now, I'm not sure what those are supposed to be exactly. They might be the front claws to front legs. They possibly might be little wings. I'm not really sure what those are. But I think they got left off because they're not attached to the main piece. So when I picked it up, it did not come with it. And what are we doing? I'm deciding what I'm do here. And we need to get them all connected together so that when we lift it up, it's going to stay in one piece. Okay, now I believe we're ready to cure that. And now we're going to chrome him with some gold. I've cured that for 90 seconds. And we're just going to use the little makeup applicator. And I'm just gently going to go brush over him with the little gold chrome. This part right here went very nicely. It came out nice. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. But I did. Okay, now this was the hard part. And this is one part where things went wrong. Having to get this up off the plastic now very, very carefully. I didn't want to just grab it and pull it off because I was afraid parts were going to not come off and they were going to break. So I'm just very gently using my tweezer to loosen it from the plastic. Now, the problem happens because that chrome on there is not protected at this point. So all of me doing all this stuff with this one did not come out so bad. The second one I did, between trying to get it off the plastic and manipulating it around on the nail and whatnot, there's a lot of places where the chrome came off, so you can see black under there. And if you look at the picture of the thumb that I have on the finished nail picture, you'll see a lot of black on that dragon, because that was before I figured out what I needed to do. And what that is I should have covered this whole thing with a layer of top coat, the no wipe top coat, not the tempered one. So I will be doing that later when I get to the dragon symbol. But if I had done it on these dragons, I could have just grabbed the edge of it and pulled the whole thing off in one go, real quick and easy. And also my chrome would have been protected, so it wouldn't have been coming off and leaving me with black spots. Now I did try to go back over the black with some chrome after I had it on the nail, like just very carefully, because I didn't want it sticking on the red nail. And that had limited success, so definitely you want to top coat over these. Now, if you weren't doing chrome, you wouldn't have to do the top coat. However, I think it's just easier to lift it off with the top coat than to try to do it like I'm doing here, where I'm having to take forever just to very slowly get it loose from the plastic. And when we do the dragon symbol, you'll see how easy it was once I top coated it. I could have saved myself a lot of time and a lot of headache. But that's why we do these, live and learn. Now I've made the mistake so you guys don't have to. That's kind of my thing for doing the tutorials. You guys get to see me do all the stupid mistakes, and hopefully you can avoid that if you try them on your own. There he is. He's free. Yay! Okay. Now we're going to... This is going on the thumb. So I am going to base coat this thumbnail. And I'm using Beetles for that. And I'll be using Beetles as the no wipe top. Okay, we're just going to go with a thin layer of the base coat on this nail. And I'm putting it over the whole nail so I can keep my layer even. And now the dragon. I was really surprised that I was able to manage to get him off of there in one piece. But he's very delicate. Okay, and let's go with it. Okay, I'm just going to lay him on there. Now, I'm digging around in my drawer. That's why everything's shaking on there. I'm looking for one of my silicone tools that I'm going to use because I didn't want to touch it too much because I didn't want the chrome coming off. We're going to kind of manipulate him around and get him where we want. Now see, you can see part of there on the belly part where the chrome powder has come off. This one is the one that came out the best for the way I did it. The other one is even worse than this one. Once we're happy and I get him where I want him, now looking at him from the side edge, I think maybe I've cured him already. I think he's been cured now, and that's where we are with him so far. Okay, now these are the symbols. This is the dragon symbol. I had my crack research team finding this out for me. When I decide which one of these I'm going to use, I'm going to show you the method of doing this the correct way now, because by the time I got to this symbol, I had issues. I know they're not connected together, but when I was pulling them off the original way like I did with the dragons, they came off in 3 pieces, which I then had to try to line up and get them to stay in one spot while I cured them. And it was a nightmare. I ended up having to rip them back off the nail and clean that, strip that nail down in the center and redo it somewhat. But anyway, this is the correct way to do it now. We're going to go over the symbols. Now you would think that these just being fairly simple would have been easy to do, but I had a hard time getting my lines to look like I wanted them. Doing these lines in like one swoop is the way to go, but if you have to stop and do them in more than one, then they start getting like jittery looking. They don't look nice and smooth. So I had to work at it to get it to come out being nice. And I know all these little dots and these little things like on the ends of these, I know those all mean something, but I don't know what. So I was trying extra hard to make sure I get them on there exactly the way they're supposed to be. touch up that little tail on the end of that one. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to fix it up a little bit in some places where I think stuff got skipped a little. I should have left the line parts alone because I made them thicker, which is not what I really wanted. Okay, once I'm done fooling around with this and I'm happy with it, I will cure it for 90 seconds. Here we go. And we're going to chrome it the same as we did on the dragon. Okay, now here we're going to use the no wipe top, and we're just going to cover this. Or just cover the whole thing like so. It doesn't need to be real thick. This is a little thicker probably than it should be because my polish is really thick. Now I have cured that for 60 seconds. And bam, there we go. Look how easy that was to get off of there. In one piece, everything's intact where it's supposed to be, and the chrome is protected. So there you go. That's the way to do it, not the way I originally did. And I'm going to take my little scissors and I'm just going to trim off some of this excess top coat around here. Plus, it was a lot easier to handle. If I had done this with the dragons, they would have looked a lot nicer, I think. And the last bit off of there. Okay, now we're going to be ready for it to go on. These are going to go on the pinkies. And I have already put base coat on there. Now, I had a little issue getting it to stay exactly where I wanted it, and I didn't want to use my stamper tip on my UV flashlight because it causes it to move, and I needed it to stay perfectly where it was. So I'm taking the plastic that I just used for the other part. I'm pressing it down flat and I'm holding it tightly over the top of there. It's in place where I want it. Now I'll use the UV flashlight to cure that into place, and it will be all flat and nice and smooth. And we can line it up so we can see it, so we could line it up exactly where we wanted it before curing it. Whereas, like I said, if I used the stamper head on this flashlight and tried to do it with that, it would slide around and it just would have been a mess. You guys have seen me do that on other things where it slides over too far and it just doesn't look good. So off we go with that. And there it is. It is on there nice and good. Now see, it does have a ridge, but we're going to take care of that here in a bit. From the top coat part. But the symbols on there, it's looking nice. Let me get rid of my chrome mess. And what we are going to do now is give them a layer of base coat over top of that whole thing. I'm going to put a decent layer of it on. Now I'm going to go backwards like this when I get to that ridge part, so the base coat can get up against the ridge and form like a slope, I guess. So we're going to try to build it up in a way so the bottom part of the nail is going to get even with that part there where the ridge is. And it will take a few layers of stuff. Okay, we're going to do that on the dragon ones also. Now they don't have the layer, the extra layer from the top, so this is just going straight in over the ones that we put on. Okay, so I'm going to do this on all of them, then we're going to cure that. Not all the nails, just the ones we've added the dragons and the symbols to. So basically the thumbs and the pinkies. And I will cure those. And once they're cured, then we're going to go over them with the hefty layer of top coat. Now this is the tempered top coat now that I'm putting on. And I did do 2 layers of this. Just because I wanted to make doubly sure I wasn't going to be filing through my designs. But I'm only going to show you my putting the 1 layer on. But I did do 2. There's our hair for this one. Okay, so we'll do that on all 4 of those. Well, we're going to do the pinky. You're going to see me do the pinky, and then that'll be it for these. Okay, so you can see the little lines of where the ridges are. We're just going to do the same thing that I did with the base. I'm going to go backwards on this part to build some up where the ridge was. You see, you can already see it's looking better. After the second coat, it was pretty smooth. It didn't have much of a ridge to it at all. Okay, and we'll cure those. Now we're going to move on to the old buff and file routine. I have definitely sped this up. Oh, no, we're not. I'm doing the second layer of top coat. I thought I didn't keep that in here, but anyway. So, here we go. I just sped it up a lot, I guess. I don't know why I have this on. I didn't think I kept this in on the edit, but oh well, I guess I did. As you can see on that dragon, there's a lot of black areas from handling it where my chrome came off. And last one. Actually, I think this is the one that's the worst of the 2. On top of the fact that the chrome came off, it also got all over the red nail part and I couldn't get it off. So that one doesn't look very good. Okay, now we're ready for the file and buff. Now see those little pointy bits on there? We want those off. So I'm using my 100-180 grit buffer file for these. I just want to do it enough to get the pointy bits off and make them smooth. Okay, and the pinky, these are the ones that had the heavy ridge lines on them. See, as you can see, it's mostly all gone now. But we're just going to buff it out to make it even smoother. And obviously, you can tell I've sped this way up. There was a little piece of the symbol on the side that was hanging over the edge on this one that I had to clip off. Boop, there it goes. And I will get my side smoothed out with the hard file, and then I'll go back to the buffer. And we're good to go. Okay, I've wiped the dust off of those, and now we're ready to go in with the final top coat. This is the tempered top coat again. And we're in the home stretch. Surprisingly, I did not do any embellishments on these as far as crystals or anything. I thought about trying to do some crystal fireworks on there, but then changed my mind. I think I think they're nicer without them actually for this set. And it's kind of hard to see the designs on there because they are rather subtle. In person, you can see them a lot better. And our last little pinky. And we'll cure those, and then we'll be done. Ta-da! That's the finished set. If you like them, please give me a like. And if you want to see more, I upload a new set every Saturday. So you can stay tuned for that. Next time, I'm going to do a second attempt at an opal nail set. I did one before and I wasn't happy with it, so I'm going to try another one. Hopefully this one will come out better now. Okay, and that's all I got for you this week. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.